Hey, buddy. Okay, we're live on YouTube, so should be good to go. I don't know if you have the ability to drop in once in a while and just check for comments or anything, or whatever. I'm gonna monitor the feed in here from my laptop, and I'm gonna hop over to Facebook really quick, and then also just post that we're going live with the link. That's pretty much it. Hope
Great.
you can hear me. I don't see you.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you hear me? I'm tabbed out for a second to post the link. Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, I'm just tabbed out for a second to repost. Cool.
Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to, let me pull up the feed here. Okay, so it looks like it's probably just still delayed on the feed itself. Yeah, and I can see the chat here from my laptop. So this should work out. Hey, there it is. Okay, so this should work out pretty good. Let's see. Alrighty. I'm going to, let me pull up the feed here. Okay, cool. All right, and there's 3 people watching. Oh, Walt dropped in the chat. Hey, what's going on, Walt?
Welcome back.
Walt gets he gets the pin for the most dedicated the most dedicated member of the dream team here from our first live stream. He's been in here hanging out, sharing the love. So I appreciate it, Walt.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now you get to see us in our actual vehicles instead of in hotels and libraries. So
yeah, that first live chat was kind of a cheat because both of us were like, neither of us were in vehicles, I was in a pretty bougie hotel room and you were in a library. So,
yeah,
today we're getting back to it. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just going to show the people really quick. Everybody bear with me. So we're doing a Zoom here, me and Justin. We have a Zoom meeting going, and then we're also broadcasting to YouTube simultaneously, all from my iPhone. So, bandwidth is limited. And so just so everybody knows, there might be some hiccups and some dropped audio, and that's just, that's the live streaming life. So please bear with us, and hopefully if we disappear, we soon come back. But I was going to just show the people really quick what's going on here. Look at this beautiful sunny San Diego. We got some trees, ocean off in the background. And I'm just posted up here with a few other van life friends, kind of just hanging out by the beach. And so it's a good vibe, man. It's really cool. And that's, at least for me, that's a big part of van life, right? Is just kind of hanging out with friends. And we're just hanging up and going on, right? Dudes outside are eating sandwiches and talking about skydiving. So, I mean, it's not a bad Wednesday, right? How about you, Justin? What do you got going on up there? Where are you at?
yeah, you're gonna have to get a surfboard here pretty soon if you're gonna stay in San Diego much longer, as is tradition. But yeah, it's the weather here. I'm in Seattle still, and overcast today, big surprise, but at least it's not raining. So that's a big plus, and it's not snowing. And so I'm in good spirits. So I'm excited to show everybody what I've been working on for the last couple of years, and just made some pretty big upgrades. So I'm excited to show them off.
Oh man, let's see. Looks like I'm losing your audio here, buddy. Let me see. Let's feed really quick.
Big surprise, but it's not raining.
So it's interesting. I can actually hear you fine on the YouTube replay, but I just can't hear you. I can't hear you on my phone.
No!
So right.
The perks of van
it's
life.
Crazy.
Streaming.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we were kind of spoiled on day one, right? I was in the hotel room hooked up to that sweet buttery Wi-Fi, and we were just cruising along at a nice right now. But the thing is, I think you're coming through on the so maybe we just don't talk and forth so much. I mean, maybe we'll just talk to the audience, don't talk to each other. And that's fine. Talk to each other all the time anyway. So we'll just talk to the people instead. So really quick, I'm just gonna get off. Hey, I heard that laugh. The first thing we wanted to talk about was just kind of a little intro. What's currently happening for Van Life RX? We got a few things going on. For those of you that haven't caught a live stream yet, the website is officially live, vanliferx.com. You can find us there. I would like to encourage people to go and sign up on the website, and then to make a post on the community page. And so introduce yourself. There's already a few people that have went ahead and introduced themselves. I introduced myself, Justin did. John Dean went ahead and put up a post. John Dean's a great guy. He's got a cast out, Nomad Happy Hour. And so you can also find his podcast through the White Van Life RX. And then also Bronte, Boxcar Child, she also made a post about herself on the website as well. So it's kind of cool to go and just get a feel for everybody else that's involved and kind of see what the community is up to. And so that's a great place to go. Go to the community tab from the main page of the website. We also have a Facebook page. So if you guys haven't found us on Facebook, we're just under Van Life RX. And so please, wherever you like to consume content, please find us there. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is, for those of you that are interested in van life and maybe haven't dug into it yet, we're hosting our first free live event. It's going to be on February 23rd. So 3 weeks away now. It's going to be a free course about 3 hours in length, and it's called Discovering Your Dream Home on Wheels. And what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of help take you guys through the process of, figuring out, what type of van lifestyle you might want to live, whether you're interested in camping, staying in parks, state parks, doing complete off-grid boondocking, or if you want to do kind of some city stealth camping. And so depending on what type of experience you want to have, you're going to need a different type of vehicle. And then you're also going to need some different equipment setups, right? So like if you want to be all the time boondocking, you're going to create your own power. You're going to want solar. You need to store a bunch of water. So there's kind of different you'll need. And then like if you're in a smaller car like Justin, he would probably have a hard time boondocking because he can't really plug in his car to recharge it. So these are all just things to consider when you're looking into getting a vehicle, is what type of lifestyle you want to live. Me personally, I like everything. And so that's why I went with the setup that I have. Like today, I'm here in San Diego. It's beautiful. And I'm parked in this parking lot down at Ocean Beach. They have a really cool parking lot that's free. And the thing I really like is this box truck I'm in now. It's the 12-foot box truck. It's about 21 feet bumper to bumper. So I can fit a regular parking space. And so I've been thinking recently about, maybe I want to get a bigger rig. Maybe I want to have a shower and a toilet and a little more move around. But as I'm here in this parking lot, I'm realizing if I had the next size up rig, which is about 25 feet, I would not be able to park here. And so it's like, the struggle of like wanting to have all your conveniences, but then also need to, be where you want to be, stay where you want to stay. And so that's kind of the things we're going to talk about in the course. And we're going to go over some different types of vehicles, where you can find vehicles, what types of items you might want to have in your rig. Do you need a workstation? Do you like to cook? Do you want a lot of cookies? So it's going to be fun. It's a live course, February 3rd. If you go to the website, vanlifer.com, you can sign up for the course there. And we'd love to have you guys come out and learn a little bit more about van life. And so, that's kind of what we got going on as a whole, VanLife RX. We have some other things coming down the pipe. I don't want to talk about it too much yet because it's really recent, but it's exciting. And it's going to be opportunities for everybody involved with the VanLife Dream Team to get in and just have some exclusive content and some exclusive offerings. There's a few events coming up this spring and this fall. The Dream Team members are going to get exclusive opportunities for. And also, I have a good friend who has also offered up his space for us to have our first community meetup. So it's very likely that we will have a community meetup for everyone in the Dream Team that is going to be in the Arizona area. I know when you live in van life, everyone's spread out. But if you're going to be in Arizona, sometime in May or June or maybe July, we're going to have a meetup. Potentially Northern Arizona, that's going to be pretty sweet. So we'll talk about that as the details come up. And so that's VanLife Dream Team. That's where we're at as a collective. And then I see Dean just said hello in the chat. John Dean, again, Nomad Happy Hour, super nice guy. And so I'll just roll in really quick to my kind of what's current with me. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Justin, and I'm going to let him tell you guys what's going on with him. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, actually seeing John Dean here pop up in the chat, was Schoolypalooza. So I just finished up Schoolypalooza 2022. It was an amazing experience. I found out it's a 6-year-old event. It started out desert of Arizona. And it was just a guy that had a school bus and had friends with school buses, and they all kind of hung out and met and just had a nomad time. And so every year they've come back and they've done it again and again, and more people have joined. And so this was actually my first year coming to the event. So of all the things I've done, I haven't made it to Schooly. This was my first year. It was amazing. From the moment I pulled in, I just felt so welcome, and it was cool to see all different types of vehicle dwellers. There were for sure schoolies, there were van lifers, there were some people in RVs, people in cars, there were some people tent camping. I mentioned her earlier, Bronte, boxcar child. She couldn't make it down in her van, and so she actually flew into Las Vegas, and a friend came and picked her up and brought her down. Yeah, her like 3 hours from Vegas down to Schoolypalooza, and she was just like van hopping. So she was like staying with friends in different vans for a night and just jumping around. But it's crazy, like you can do that. So the cool thing is just how strong the community vibe is, and how important it was for for her to be with the community to make this event. Is that she was going to come down with a backpack and just figure it all out when she got here. And I talked to her a few times throughout the event, and she just seemed like she was having a blast. So overall, it was just such a good vibe. There was some music. I posted a little video on my Instagram and also to the YouTube shorts of Schoolypalooza, where there was a band. It's actually from California here. I think. Do you remember where they said they were from? Audio Oceanside. So the band was Audio Per Disco, and they were from Oceanside, California. A huge blue bus. And they were playing live music with guitars and drums up on top of their bus. And then they also had a DJ playing some music. So it was just super exciting. And they were playing Right as the Sunset. It was like this beautiful kind of pink, orange sunset kind of coming down behind them. So it was beautiful, man. It was a good time. There was lots of food, lots of dog friends. The giving community was there in full effect. There was a guy who was making coffee out of his school bus, and he was just giving away free coffee for anybody that that walked by. And so me and Nicole, we went by one morning and we got a cup of coffee, and we actually donated some pretzels we had. Nicole scored a bunch of pretzels. We were in Las Vegas before, and she had an event she was doing, and so she scored a bunch of chocolate dipped pretzels that were left over from this event. And she was like, I'm gonna bring these down to school and pass them out. And so we were like passing them out to people, but the problem is, we don't eat, and the pretzels were so delicious, we just kept. And so we're like, we got to get these pretzels out of the van. And so she was like, let's just take them and pass them out. So we handed them out, and then we ended up giving the last of the box to this guy that was making coffee. So it was just, it was cool to just kind of be in the vibe and be helping people out and be passing stuff around, and just be a part of the crew. It felt really nice. So Palooza was great. It was originally set to be in Parker, and then the organizer ended up doing it right across the border. It was very close to California, so they ended up doing it on BLM in California. But anybody that knows California knows California is very picky. They feel like they are very special. They absolutely have their own ideas about what is allowed and what is not. So they ended up asking us to leave a couple of days into Schoolypalooza because we didn't have a permit, which, I mean, I get it, whatever. It's kind of a gray area, but they asked us to leave. And so everybody just commuted down to Ehrenberg, which is where Schooly was last year. But everybody came, converged, and it was an awesome event. And I got to say, I preferred the second location, the Ehrenberg location, because everything was closer. Like the original Schooly, it was so spread out that like I had friends staying on the other end, and I wasn't even gonna walk to see them because it was so far. It was like over this ridge and then down the other side. It was kind of crazy. So being in Ehrenberg, everyone was kind of in one general area, and it was easy to walk from end to end, go to the concerts at night, go back to the rig, and have quiet time. So I really liked the second location. And I know this year the organizers of Schooly kind of mentioned that they're not going to do it again. This year got kind of out of control for them. I know the main guy, I don't think he even really lives in a bus anymore. So it sounds like, maybe John is going to step up, and maybe a couple of people are going to kind of help and keep it moving. I feel like it's one of those things where it's been going so long that the people that have been, they're going to keep going. So I feel like as long as we just decide we're going to have Schoolypalooza, and then maybe the community picks dates, I think we can go ahead and move it ahead. So I'm definitely looking forward to being able to attend Schoolypalooza next year. I'm definitely going to make it. So it was a great event. If you guys haven't been, if you're curious, I would recommend just going to YouTube and type in Schoolypalooza 2022. I know there's a lot of YouTubers there, and people already have content up. So if you want to see what was going down, you want to see some band tours, watch the videos. But no matter what, it's never the same as being there. So if you guys get the chance, make sure to attend Schoolypalooza. So that's my rant about Schooly. And then a couple other things I just wanted to mention. As I came down from Schooly, we figured out there was a hot spring only about 2 hours away. So me and a few other friends come back from Schooly, we decided we were going to head down to California, Holtville Hot Springs, 2 hours away. And so we drove out the night Schoolypalooza ended, and I soaked in the hot springs there in Holtville, California. It was epic. It was nice to just kind of wash the dust off and let the warm mineral water relax your body right after you've been dancing and cramped up and just doing your thing for so long. It's nice to kind of relax. So kind of a little tip, if you're at Schooly or in the Arizona area, Ehrenberg Quartzsite, hard drive to Holtville Hot Springs. It's pretty nice out there. I definitely recommend checking it out. And then one other thing I wanted to mention really quick, and then I'm going to wrap up my portion, is just I got pulled over heading to Schoolypalooza. It's the first time I've ever been pulled over in a vehicle that I've lived in. So since I've started van lifing, this is the first time I got pulled over in 4 years. And it's actually fantastic because the reason I got pulled over is the cop thought I was in a commercial vehicle, and I didn't. Like, he said they're doing random commercial vehicle inspections. And so I was like, well, this is my house. It's converted to a camper. I was like, I live in here. It's not a commercial vehicle. And it was actually like I think it was a state trooper. It wasn't just a regular police, right? And he was like, he kind of stepped back and looked at my vehicle, and he was like, what do you mean you live in here? Like, he did not understand. And so I was like, well, we converted it into an RV. It's not a truck anymore, a box truck. And so he's like, well, can you show me inside? Because he was so confused. And so I the cab and opened the back door. And then he looked and he was like, oh my goodness. He was like, oh, I get it. I see now. It's an RV now. And so for me, I was actually really excited for that feedback, because to me that says my vehicle is actually very stealth. You know, a lot of people in van life, the goal is to be kind of stealthy and blend in, because you don't want people really paying attention to you and what, know that you're staying in your van. You want to just blend into the background. So in my mind, if I had a law enforcement officer that didn't know I was living in my van and pulled me over, and then even after I told him I lived in it, he still didn't understand, I feel like that's about as stealth as you can ask to be. So for anybody wondering, if you have a box truck and you cut a couple windows in the side and you replace the back door with a regular house door, it still qualifies as a stealth camper. So the debate is settled. A box truck is still stealthy. So that's it. That's my rant. That's what's up with me. I'll go ahead and flip it over to Justin. Justin Corral up there in the blustery Seattle, Washington area. And Justin, tell us what's going on with you. What's new?
I'm glad you got all the Mexicans out of the box truck before the cop was able to see them. Just fucking around. But yeah, it's awesome. I love hearing about Schoolypalooza. I wish I could be there. Obviously, I'm kind of swamped with work these days, doing buying and trading and selling on Amazon through books. So kind of got my work cut out for me here for a bit, but we should be able to meet up here in March for another event, Tiny Fest. So looking forward to that. But so with what's happening in my world. So recently I just got through modding my car. I took out the back not passenger seats, but the back seats, and it made a whole bunch more room for storage. I was watching YouTube videos and I saw that this guy was removing the seats, and he's like, well, there's a bunch of room down here if you want to do car modding. And so I was like, well, that's a great idea. Obviously there's not a whole lot of room back here. So I was very interested, and it didn't take much effort. I had to go to Home Depot and get a special tool to remove the screws, but that was pretty much it. It was quite a bit. It saved quite a bit of space. A lot more room for this giant refrigerator back here, which is 4 cubic feet, so it's pretty big. But I kind of decided that I'd sacrifice a lot of space for food, because that was a big part of what was important for me doing this lifestyle, is just to stay fit and not fill my body with a bunch of junk food. And then on top of that, recently I just purchased a dehumidifier, and I've owned a couple in the past and they've worked great. 2 of them were too small and they didn't have a continuous functionality to it. And one of them was too big and it was too powerful. So I'm hoping that this is going to be the perfect size and power. It was the smallest unit that I could find that had the most potential, the biggest power output. And the idea behind getting the dehumidifier is I want to, reduce the window fog indoors. After you've been inside your car for a while, condensation builds up, and that leads to moisture in the air, and moisture in the air leads to fungus, right? And so you don't want fungus in your living conditions. So A, the idea is to remove the fungus, but then B, is that in perfect conditions, this thing can remove 3.5 gallons of water from the air a day. And so the idea is like, well, hopefully, I'm hoping that I can at least get a gallon of water from the dehumidifier per day, distill that water, and consume it. I go through about a gallon of water a day, a little bit less. And so if I can get a gallon of water a day and distill it, well, that would just be perfect. That'd be pretty much all my needs. So getting the dehumidifier is super important, and I'm super excited for that. That should show up this week. And then on top of that, another exciting news is my first big payout from Amazon. And when I say big payout, I mean it's able to sustain myself in my living conditions, where it's like, my lease on the car is about $375 a month for 3 years. So it's not too bad, but I needed to make at least that plus my phone bill plus food. And so this first paycheck that I've got from Amazon was more than enough to pay for all of that. And then it's still accumulating every day. Book sales come in. I have a special program that I wrote that automatically adjust all the prices for the books. And so that helps speed up the sales. So every time I run that program, it seems like I get a couple sales just off repricing my merchandise and staying competitive. So that was super exciting to get that first paycheck. And, I got all these books for free. And so I'm actually donating 15% of the revenue that I've accumulated from doing those book sales on Amazon, and I'm donating it back to the owner. They didn't ask for it, but I always, my mom's been helping me a lot with this whole project, and she's always kind of kept me, what is the right thing to do. And so I decided, I think the right thing to do here is to share some part of the portions of profits with the owner of these books, because A, they're a family friend anyway, and B, it's just the right thing to do. And I like win-win scenarios, and so as long as I'm doing well, they're doing well, and everybody's winning simultaneously. And so that's what I try to do in my life, is just create as many environments where it's like we're all winning together. And so that's pretty much what's been happening in my life. Super exciting. It just keeps getting better every day. And so I'm excited for to showing you a little bit more of the tour of the vehicle and what I've been working on these last couple of years. And, a lot of things come and go. It's really funny. I was looking on Amazon and looking at previous stuff I've ordered, and I'd say I'd probably only use about half of it, and half of it you just have to get rid of because it's like, well, you don't have a need for it anymore, and there's not a whole lot of space. So, it gets the boot. But it was funny going back through there and being like, oh yeah, I got rid of all this stuff that I used to have, and things change, but life keeps getting better, so I like it. All right, passing it back to you, Brad. You want to show off your
Cool,
setup?
Yeah, I'm just I'm waiting. Your audio's still choppy, so I'm just like waiting for your audio to catch up so I can hear that you're finished. That's it's funny, guys. Me and Justin we were working earlier today to set up this live stream, and all we want to do is have the two of us having a conversation, and we want to share that conversation with everybody on YouTube. Like, that's all we want to do. And the amount of hoops you have to jump through to make that happen is incredible. YouTube won't let you just do a live stream with another person, and so we have to go through Zoom as an intermediary. And so it's a lot of different moving parts, and I'm trying to run it off my iPhone. And so my poor little iPhone's just like, it's too much, man. So, but anyway, I got it. And so that's back to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of show you guys my box truck a little bit and just kind of talk about it. I'm actually doing two different parts. So the first thing I was going to do is kind of show off the box truck a little bit and what I got going on right now. And then Justin's going to show his setup as well, which actually I think Justin's setup is way more interesting than mine. I've done a ton of tours on mine, and it's all pretty conventional. But Justin is like the kind of mental horsepower he's used to make this car into quite the high performance machine. It's incredible. So anyway, we'll leave that for him to show off his part. But so I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera around and just kind of show you guys. I know a lot of you have probably already seen my van or seen the tour or whatever. But again, I'm just hanging out in San Diego. I don't know if you guys can see this off of the background, so nice. But there's actually a pole dancing class going on right now. So it's it's van life, man. It's all good. But anyway, so this is kind of an overview of my box truck, just how I have it set up right now. I'm just kind of working right here at the desk with my desk chair. So it's really, I do a lot of computer work, and it's important for me to have like kind of a nice big workspace. And this is actually a Home Depot, like a sit stand desk. So it's just from Home Depot. It's Husky brand, and so it's got a couple of drawers in it, and so I like it. It works out really well. And moving on over here, I got some food storage, and then I got some cabinets up top to kind of keep all my food and stuff going. And then I got my fridge section down here as well. So I just made a lunch a little bit earlier. Actually, I was going to show you guys something cool. You notice down here, I got this little cassette toilet. So I actually picked this up at Schoolypalooza. I was already kind of thinking about getting a toilet, and there was a guy selling this, and it's basically brand new. So he said like he used it for like a week, and then they decided they didn't want it, and so it's like almost brand new, and it's super clean. He went ahead and like power washed it before he sold it or anything. But so check out how this works. There's like a water tank over here, so it holds 3 gallons of water. So you put water in the holding tank, and then he said he puts in like a little bit of like he called Fabuloso, which is like a really cheap like a floor cleaner or something. So just kind of so that that way the toilet bowl water that's coming out kind of cleans the bowl. But then you go ahead and you do your business, and then there's this piece over here, and this is like the pump. So you just pull it up, and then you pump it down, and then I don't know if you can see the water kind of trickles down, and then it kind of just fills in the bowl, and then there's a little handle here, and you pull that out, and then it goes ahead and it just drops it down into the tank. So you can see how that action kind of goes back and forth. So it's pretty cool, guys.
Nice.
After 4 years of living in a vehicle, I finally have a proper toilet. So I don't have to poop in
Must
bags
be
anymore.
nice.
So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. So let's see. I'll match Justin. Let's see what you got. How you set up a toilet car.
Oh, we'll get there.
So anyway, I was definitely pretty excited about that. The toilet's nice. You know, for a long time, it was like this pride thing of like, you know, I don't need a toilet, I don't need a shower, like, I'm living in a van. But you know, after a long time, it's like, you know what, it's time to let's add in some more conveniences, and you know, just keep it easy, so that's pretty cool. I'm excited about the toilet. I now have a toilet. The latest video tour that I did on YouTube, that was the main people were like, there's no toilet, this isn't a house, can't live in there. So anyway, that's it. I have a toilet now, and got the little pass to the cab. Lucy's up there kind of just taking a nap, and kind of show you guys the parking lot. There's a ton of vans out here, lots of RVs and sprinters, and it's just super beautiful, you know, super beautiful out here. And you know, that's really the reason I do van life. For me personally, it's really about just being able to change locations whenever you want. I mean, 2 days ago, I was in Arizona, you know, at Schoolypalooza. Well, maybe not 2 days ago, like 3 days ago, I was at Schoolypalooza in the Arizona desert. And then I drove 2 hours to go to a hot spring. And then I looked at the map and I was like, man, we're only 2 hours from the ocean. I was like, let's go to San Diego. And so we just like put everything away and hit the road. And in 2 hours, we're in San Diego hanging out at the beach. And so it's
Love
just
it.
that the freedom to just travel and go where you want and not be restricted by, you know, a specific location. It's just, for me, it's just so important. And so I just encourage anyone that I meet that is curious about van life, or they feel like, you know, they feel like they might enjoy it, try it out, see if it's for you, and you might fall in love and you might never go back. You know, you might just be like, this is exactly what I've been looking for, and you might really enjoy it. So I was going to just mention really quick what I did last night. So we came into San Diego and we did some grocery shopping out at a sushi restaurant, which was actually really tasty. And I needed a spot to stay the night. And so my old tried and true method of finding a place to stay in any city is you just pull up your maps and then look for a local mechanic shop. And so I pulled up in Google Maps. I go to the street view where it gives you the actual satellite view. And then I typed in mechanic, and I found a mechanic shop. It was like 2 miles from the sushi restaurant we were at. And I always try to look for one that has a shared parking lot, right? So that way, because if it's just a mechanic shop, then if you're a parking lot, then they know like you're there for them and that's their space. But I found one that was like a mechanic shop, and then next to it was like a tax place, and then next to it was like some medical office. So I was able to park, you know, like on the wall opposite of the buildings, and then nobody really knows who you're there for or why you're there. And so, you know, we stayed there all night. I ran the diesel heater, watched a movie, and nobody messed with us. And we woke up this morning at about 6 a.m. Some maintenance guy like raking leaves out in the parking lot. So you know, that was my good morning, welcome to San Diego, with some guy raking leaves. But I mean, I stayed for free and we had a good time. So that's just van life, right? Like you get the freedom of travel, you don't have to pay for where you stay, but you make broken up by a guy raking leaves. So you know, that's van life. So anyway, that's what I'm up to. That's a little update, and an update on my rig as well. So now the moment we're all waiting for, I'm gonna turn it over to Justin Corral, and he's gonna show you guys his micro camper BMW. Take it away, Justin.
All right, yeah, it's awesome, man. I love I love the toilet. I'm super jealous. I used to actually have there's like a bucket seat that you can just put on a bucket for a 5-gallon container, and that was pretty nice. But I ended up breaking it, so it wasn't very useful. So I got rid of it. But that's pretty cool, man. I like the setup. I like you're so clever with finding places to park, and you know that's one thing. It's like living in this vehicle, it's super easy to just go and pretty much park wherever on any cul-de-sac, and you're totally cool. Nobody knows. But in a bigger vehicle, I imagine that's harder. Like you said, you've got the door in the back, and you've got the 2 cutout windows, and so obviously that's much harder. And you're pretty clever when it comes to finding spots to go. You know, I like the idea of keeping it in places that are ambiguous, where you're not really sure what you're there for. I think that's really smart. My experience has been, parking in like mall parking lots never works out very well, because somebody, some road cleaner will come and like kick you out in the middle of the night. So anyway, yeah, I love to show you guys my setup here. I'm going to flip the camera around and get out of the car and show you, how I run my Amazon job, and how I live and sleep and, cook and all that stuff. Here we go. So this is kind of the vehicle from the outside. Just a cheap bike rack from Amazon. This is my table that I use for cooking. Spare seats, my bike. I don't keep the seats or the handlebars on the bike, so that it deters theft. Extra couple gallons of gasoline back here too. Super convenient. But here's like the main station, right? So you got the driver's seat. I've got my laptop hooked up here. Here's the show notes for today. All that's keeping it up is this little stretchy band, but it gets the job done. I've got this little steering wheel cover, and that makes the laptop flush with the steering wheel, so it just mounts up there perfectly fine. Very convenient. Whoopsie. So back here is the 4.4 cubic foot mini fridge, and that's been a huge blessing. I used to have just like the smallest mini fridge possible, but that wasn't very useful for storing food. But inside, this is just a strap you get from Home Depot, but I took the hinges off, so this just comes down. If I need a little bit extra room, I can push it down a little bit more. But here's the mini fridge. I've got, carrots. Here's a bunch of like mason jars. So, when I'm cooking bulk food, these all come in handy, and this all just fits in here real nicely. I got smaller ones in the front, and then I've got bigger jars in the back. So those just fit wonderfully. And, small trays down here. Up here is the refrigerator. So I've got like, my big ice cubes and the small ones go in there. And, you don't have to keep this running too high. I just got it at like a 2.5 settings right now. But, yeah, I haven't been doing a whole lot of cooking because it involves being outdoors, and it can get pretty chilly up here in Seattle. So not a whole lot of motivation to do it. But when I do, I'm going to put this down for a second, close the fridge. It's really nice to have all that. And so here is my induction stove. Whoopsie. it's got 2 burners. So if I need to cook 2 things at the same time, it's really nice to have. Practically, I probably only need 1. I usually only use 1 anyway because it uses about 700 watts of power. So I don't run 2 burners too often. Usually 1 is at a low simmer just to keep it nice and warm while the other food is cooking. So there's all that. I'll show you the front. So this is what I like to call like the water station. And so I actually forgot I have some water running right now. And so this is my distiller, and this is my spare water. It's about 5 gallons. And so this is the water. I just got a gallon jug from Fred Meyer. And what I like this is I do have the glass gallon jugs, but I needed it to be a little bit more flexible to fit in here. So I got this one. The water just goes down to this small tube and feeds into there quite nicely. I got some accessories in here. So this is like my shower hose, and below this, here's my my bike seat. If you're wondering where I store that, but bike seat goes there, and then let's see if I can pull this out without wrecking everything. So anyway, there's more containers and more storage facilities up in this the bumper of the car. And now, oops, I need to go unlock it real quick. Go on the other side, I'll show you. Let me set the phone down again. Give me a second. Okay, so here is the inside of the car, what it looks like. 2 blankets. This is my pressure cooker and fryer and baker. This thing has like 12 different tools and that you can use for cooking, and it's super versatile. It does take up quite a bit of power, so if you're not running an electric vehicle, you're probably not going to be able to use one. But it's super convenient and awesome to have. I can do any kind of cooking that I want at home. I can do in this, and then this is just a 4-gallon stainless steel pot, and I keep all my food peripherals inside this bag. So if I ever need to use the pot, I was cooking coffee in there, it looks like, before. But if I ever need to grab anything, that I can just pull out all the materials really quick, and it makes a nice storage facility for that. Let's see here. I've got a little curtain that kind of just pulls through here if I ever need privacy or anything. That's been super nice to have. And so here's like the books that I finished processing. I'm gonna set this down for a second. Oops. And so there's my, here's where I keep my bucket, and the bucket has a vacuum head attachment to it. And so it's like a shop vac. It turns the bucket into a shop vac, and I can keep extra materials inside this bucket. So it fits underneath this little cubby really nicely. And down here is just a little heater that I use at night. It just makes living a little bit more nice. It's not necessary, but it's definitely nice having it. So here's the long bed. Underneath this first cushion, this was a donated cushion, by the way, but here's like my dryer. And so when I'm doing my laundry, after I get done washing it all in that steel pot that I had back there. I wash all my clothes, and then I just, my dirty clothes go in the sack, and then the sack just goes in with all the dirty clothes into this dryer. I can pull this out if I need to. It's not really that big of a deal. And then, hold on one more second. I'm gonna. So if I just pull the mattress up that I sleep on, there's another chair here. And so I can take that cushion back there and I can set it down and use this as a proper seat. But, oopsie, dropped my earbud. Underneath the seat, I've got all of my materials that I keep for like long-term storage. So here's my suit, and then just various tools. So like my cleaning supplies, my handsaw, duct tape, just all the tools that I needed before. I just kind of throw them all down here now, and it fits. It's awesome. And then, so I've got, the stuff I really don't use for a long time, that goes into the mini fridge. I've got a little shovel down here, and there's just so much extra room down here now that I got those seats removed. And so that's been a huge blessing. And the last project that I work on was just getting the seat out. But what's nice is that if I still need to use it, if I still have a passenger that I want to travel around with, I can just throw these down and throw, this padding down, and then just set it here. And I still have an extra seat to work with, and it's still, that's still supportive. And then everything still works out just great. So that's pretty much the tour of my place. Throwing it back to you, Brad.
All right, man. Thanks for that tour. I appreciate it. It's funny. I remember when we were in Texas and Justin went for a job interview at the Hilton, and he showed up at the park, which is where we were all living, and he was wearing a suit. And I was like, bro, where'd you get that suit from? Like, you hardly have any room in that thing, but you got a clothes dryer and you got a suit. So you can tell Justin was raised right. His mom did good. She taught him to always have a suit and make sure your clothes are wrinkle free.
That's right. Oh, I didn't even mention I've got I actually have a little iron in there too. So I did actually iron my clothes for that interview.
I love it, man. Out there ironing your clothes in the park on a pop-out ironing board. It's pretty impressive, man. I'm just looking at the comments here. Kay Jones says, Justin, your setup is incredible. Can't believe how much you can fit in there. I agree with her. I was impressed when I first met Justin in Texas, when he opened up that tiny little door behind his driver's seat, and I saw his clothing dryer. I was like speechless. I was like, what? This guy has it going on, because I live in a box truck and I don't even have a clothing dryer. So he definitely has done a good job of taking advantage of the space, the full space he has to his advantage. So great work, and I love it. What I was going to do now is just go, we're kind of wrapping it up, but I was going to just do a quick, quick kind of day in the life. And then I was hoping Justin could kind of do the same, if he wants, just based on the fact that we have different kind of vehicles. And so I know, when people are getting into van life, or even if you're already in a vehicle, kind of one of the main things you're always thinking about is, oh, do I want a different vehicle? Would I be more comfortable in something else? Your eyes always kind of wandering and you're thinking about what it's like. So I wanted to kind of just walk you guys through what it's like to be in this box truck. And so me personally, I lived in a van, in a short bus, and then now this box truck. So I've never been in anything really small like what Justin's working with, but my van was pretty small. So moving over now to the box truck, I think the biggest thing for me is that it's large enough that I can stand up and I can move around. So, I have the back here.
Must be nice.
I have these two bench seats. This one, I actually figured out I could leave it like in the slid out position, and then it's almost like a big lounge area instead of just the tiny little bench with the back. It gives you kind of a spot to lay down. So we've actually not folding it up all the way. But anyway, this turns into the bed. So this is kind of where I wake up in the morning, and then I hop up out of bed, and the first thing I do is I'm over here. I'm gonna switch camera really quick. So the first thing I do is I come over to the thermostat right here, and I turn on my heater. So I installed the diesel heater in the van, and because it's been a little bit chilly, where are we at? Here we go. A little bit chilly here in San Diego in the morning. I've turned on the heater first thing, and then the next thing I do is I make some tea. And so what I used to do is I have an instant pot up here, and so I used to use my instant pot exclusively for cooking and for heating up water. And that was kind of the way that I would make coffee or make tea. But recently, Nicole actually turned me on to this guy right here. So I actually now, just more gadgets and gadgets, but I now officially have a hot water kettle, a tea kettle. So I just put water in here, run that, boil it up, and then that gives me my water for the tea. And you can see up here, I got a little selection of tea up top. So that's usually kind of the first thing. Wake up, turn on the heat, make some tea, make a little food, and then usually I'll start my day. So like for example, I told you guys that I spent the night in the mechanic parking lot last night. So we were woken up by the guy sweeping leaves, but then I still went over and turned on the heater, and then came over and made some tea, and we kind of kind of just took our time getting up, and then at about 8 o'clock or so, we went ahead and put everything away, and then hit the road. So the one disadvantage I will say about the Instant Pot, or I'm sorry, about the box truck and having so much space, is that you have to put everything away before you drive. So like,
Yep.
The tea kettle has to go away, all the little things that get left on the shelf, all these little things that you set out during the day, the laptop, it all has to get stored before you can move. So it's not as fast as just hopping in and leaving. There's definitely a little bit of preparation that kind of has to go into actually changing locations. So
It's like sailing in a boat.
that's kind of one side. Yeah, exactly. That's one downside of having more space. There's a little bit of more work to do, and putting things back. So I just recently have this clear tote now for fruits and veggies. The amount of fruits and vegetables I have has gotten completely out of control, and I really have no space to hold them anymore. So I now have this giant tub that holds fruits and veggies. So I got the fruits and veggies hanging out, and yeah, that's it. So today, since we're in San Diego, I was like, I really want to spend as much time as I can down on the coast. And so we came down here as soon as we got up and woke up from the mechanic shop. We just came right down to the beach, and went ahead and hopped out and went and stood in the ocean for a little bit, kind of just let the waves wash over my feet. And then I spent some time talking with some of the other folk out here. So you can see there's some van lifers, some musicians, kind of just people hanging out. I met the guy down here from New Jersey. And so it's kind of nice to just get up and then be able to spend the day how you want, and not have to be anywhere specific, not have to feel rushed. I know for me, besides being able to travel anywhere, the other thing I really like about van life is just kind of having a slower pace. And it's one of those things where when you first jump into it, you'll take that city mentality with you, the go, go, go. I got to be doing something. I got to move. I got to go do this and that. But after you've been at it for a while, you'll really start to slow down, and you'll feel it. You'll feel things, move at a slower pace, and you'll relax, and you won't feel so tense, so nervous. So it's really a big contrast that until you get out here and experience it, it's hard to understand, but it really is a slower pace. And, things are a lot more enjoyable when you're not rushing, and you can take time, to kind of do things intentionally. And I think that's what it's about for a lot of people as well, is just being more intentional and spending more time doing the things you want. I love spending time in nature, and not being inside of a concrete jungle and not just running through my day, getting home at work from work exhausted. So, I really just love it. In fact, as soon as we're done here doing this live stream, I'm going to go meet up with a guy that I know, a stranger from the internet, a guy that I know from Instagram that I've been talking to for a few years. And we've just never met up. And so he lives here in San Diego. And so I'm going to go meet up with him. And actually, I'm also going to ask him if I can take a shower at his house. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. See if I can, we'll see how good of internet we are if I can manage to get a shower in his house. So I don't know. I'll keep you guys. But anyway, that's what I'm up to. I'm handing it back over to Justin. Justin, do you have anything you wanted to talk about 10 more minutes or so? What do you?
Yeah, now that you mention it, you're in San Diego and you're on the beach. So I think that there's like showers along the beach just to get the sand off. I know I've taken showers on the beach. It's not warm water by any means stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a possibility. But, average day of life for me, it's very similar experience. It's relaxed. You don't have to worry about, being late to anything. Things just kind of go with the flow. And I would say that, because there's not any room to stand up or move around much, most of my day is probably spent trying to go to friends' and family, and help them as much as I can, because I'm not going to be in this car forever. And so it's like, well, I have the time and I have the energy and I have the willpower to go and help friends. And so obviously they really appreciate it. Imagine somebody comes over to your house and like takes out the trash or recyclables and does the dishes for you. It's like everybody, who doesn't love that? So gets them caught back up, especially during the winter. Times are hard and people are going through, seasonal depression and whatnot. So it really helps clear the air, makes them feel good, gets them back on track. And obviously there's nothing better that you can do with your time than help people through that kind of scenario. So I'd say my highest priority is trying to see friends and family and help them out. On the day-to-day basis, I wake up and usually I go and try to find some place to sleep. And when I go to sleep, my highest priority is finding like a free charger to sleep on. And so my vehicle charges and I get the full night's rest at the same time. And so I wake up, I'm fully charged, my car is fully charged, and I'm ready to go. My car can probably go about, I don't know, but roughly about 100 miles on a full charge. So it's really nice just being able to wake up and go. And so wake up, get off the charger, because, usually there's workers coming in that need to use it for their businesses. And I don't want to like see them. I don't want to disrupt them. I don't want anybody like giving me any hassle. So I get up pretty early. I get up about, 6:30 and try to get off the charger as soon as I can. And most of the time there's not anybody even in the parking lot. So it's all good. And then I bolt out and, head on with my day. Usually it involves listening to a lot of podcasts, going for walks, and getting caught up, with all the time that you have, making your own schedule. You can listen to a lot of podcasts and, get caught up. Basically you're double dipping because you're basically reading books while you're walking around. So it's a little bit of exercise, increase your knowledge a little bit. And that's pretty much it. In my spare time, I've been writing programs to help speed up the process of selling books on Amazon. And so that's been a huge blessing. And that software will be available for the public in the near future. Just got to polish it up a bit. And then, so that's really what my day's like. Making food. If I need to, I'll go to a state park. State parks are usually pretty friendly with people outdoor grilling, and there's public parking spaces and restrooms to use. So that's been a very useful tool to have. But that's pretty much it for me.
Perfect. I appreciate it, Justin. I appreciate you taking us through a day in the life. I know I really like the fact that you can sleep on a charger overnight. And so you wake up and your body's charged and your car's charged and you're ready to go. And I've been feeling the pain paying for gas, especially crossing into California. Like the minute you leave Arizona and you just cross 100 feet and gas goes up $2 a gallon. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like like 450 there in San Diego, I bet. Something like that.
Yeah, it's 450 in San Diego. And actually, when I was going up to Las Vegas, I went through Needles, California, and gas was over $5 a gallon. It was like 5.25. I couldn't believe it. I was speechless. But yeah, gas prices hurt. So I appreciate you sharing that, man. I really do. I'm gonna go to the comments really quick. A couple people just showing some love for my build. I really appreciate it. I put a lot into them, a lot of thought, before I actually build. So I appreciate that you guys like it. Kay Jones is super impressed with Justin's build. She says, Justin, your setup is incredible. I can't believe how much stuff you fit in there. I might have already read that comment. I'm not sure, but she's right. Awesome. I'm super impressed. He did a great job with that BMW. I really wouldn't have had the vision to think I could fit so many things inside the car as he has. And he's still adding stuff. He's talking about getting like a little washing machine set up and this dehumidifier. So I don't know. He's able to cram a lot of stuff in there. So he's definitely got the vision for it. And then one other thing here is Buck Calkins asks, he's stuck between a step van or a box truck. And he's asking, is there anything that sets him apart? And so I actually toured my first step van at Schoolypalooza. A good friend, Ben, a good friend from the internet who I met for the first time at Schoolypalooza, lives in a step van. And the thing that I really liked about it, a couple things, but one thing is this van had the lift on the back. So the big hydraulic lift. And so he sprung the thing open, and then he has this huge lift that he uses like a deck. And then he has like a setup for an outdoor shower. So yeah, so he has this deck where he can sit out up off the ground and drink coffee and do whatever. And then also there's extra space for people to hang out and put out a chair. And then also he can do a shower outside and it just drains onto the ground. So he doesn't have to worry about collecting gray water and that type of stuff. So if you get a step van with the lift on the back, I think that's pretty cool. As far as dimensions go, they're going to be very similar to a box truck. They both have square corners. They're both going to be, about the maximum width, which is around 7 feet. And then the height is going to be a little less than 7. And then, of course, you can get whatever length you want. But the other big difference is on most box trucks, it's a cab and then the box is a separate piece. And so in order to connect the two, you have to cut a pathway in between. So that's what I did. And sometimes you can buy a box truck where the pass-through is already built in, but still it's like a rectangle space that separates your driver's seat from the living space. But in a step van, like the one my friend has, it's all one body. Even though there was a divider between the driver's seat and then like the living space, he took that out. So it was all one big living space. So his driver and his passenger seat, he got some really nice like big fancy RV seats, and then he got swivels from, so he can swivel around the driver and passenger seat like how they do in Sprinters, and then it's all one big open space. So it was kind of nice to not have just the little doorway that kind of duck down and crawl through, but you can just literally walk from the living space into the cab. And one other thing I'll mention is on the step vans, a lot of them don't have driver's doors because they're used for delivery, like FedEx and UPS trucks. A lot of times, the driver's side is just a wall, and then the entrance and exit is where the passenger seat would be. So there'll be like a ramp that goes up inside, but you won't have a driver door. So like if you want to hop out really quick, it's just a little more effort. You have to like stand up and then walk down the inside of the steps to get outside. You can't just jump out the driver's door. So those are a couple differences. Obviously, you get different motor choices in the step van. The step vans are usually diesel. I know they do a turbo diesel Cummins, which is what Ben has. He said it's a really good engine. I'm looking at the comments. Bobby says she's seen 2 people walk away from step vans due to total engine replacements, unavailable and too costly. And so I agree with that. That is something to consider. You want to make sure when whatever vehicle you're looking at, you want to make sure that the engine and the transmission and all that stuff is still available, and it's still, you can get parts for it. That's the reason I've always bought Ford Econolines. My van, my shuttle bus, and now my box truck is all Ford Econoline chassis. So the parts, you can get them anywhere. Any mechanic can work on them. But I know some of the step van engines are kind of like these one-off engines that they only produced for a few years. And so when you're buying something that's 10 or 15 or 20 years old, you just want to make sure it's a current engine. So I know Ben's step van had like the 5.9 Cummins turbo diesel, which is a really common motor. They put it in a ton of different rigs. So great advice, Bobby. Thank you. Definitely whatever rig you're looking at buying, make sure it's, you can still get parts for it. So I think that's about it, guys. We just went over an hour. So we wanted to do about an hour of a podcast or a video live stream. That's what we hit. So
Woo.
I appreciate everybody for coming out today, hanging out with me in San Diego, hanging out with Justin in Washington. I appreciate the technology being able to unite us all today. And we're going to go live every week, rain or shine, happy or sad. We're going to be here doing it. So every Wednesday, we're going to go live. So I hope you guys can join us next Wednesday. And we're going to find something totally different to talk about. And we'll probably have new updates from Vanlife RX. So we might have some updates on some collaborations or some new events coming up. So stay tuned. And please drop by the website, vanliferx.com. Find us on our Facebook page, Vanlife RX, just to stay in the loop and connect with the community. So we appreciate you guys following along, and happy vanning out there. Any last words, Justin?
No, I think you summed it up very well. It was a pleasure talking to you, Brad, and I can't wait for the next talk next week.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Kay Jones. Thank you, Buck Calkins, for leaving a comment. Thank you, John Dean from Nomad Happy Hour. Thank you, Walt Pendleton. I appreciate you all.